Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards of Magic Online. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Hello.
Ruben Bressler.
Hi, good to be back.
Yes, we took kind of a week off, essentially. We didn't feel well for the top 10, and then by the time the stream came around, the blackout thing happened, and so more or less, it's fine. We're
now,
back
if
here.
you want to catch what we did last Wednesday, the YouTube videos of our early access streamer event are up. Be sure to watch mine more than Aaron's.
Because he needs to rub in the brag.
He needs the validation.
I need literally dozens of people to tell me that I matter.
Well, look, we also kick off with our first pick in a giveaway, $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com. Type ! raffle in the chat for your chance to win, but you subscribe first, even with Bezos bucks, to get two chances to win. Multiple people have subbed and then won. I'm just saying, correlation's not causation, but there we were. First pick. Let's go ahead and talk about the M21 preview streams. Things are happening so fast in Magic. It's just card after card after card, new thing of new thing of new thing. I was like, oh my god, can we just slow down for just like a half a second? Okay, we got to play with the new cards. People who don't like to play with the new cards weird me out. Why are you in the event when you play zero M21 cards? Okay. But overall, I had a ton of fun. The new Teferi is stupidly good, turns out. And a lot of the cards were just really sweet. I had a fun time in Sealed. I'm trying to sort of get the draft format sort of down a little bit. The draft format's really odd because it feels like because everything's good now, there's no real bad cards. Right. You kind of just trade for trade, and then like last one who sticks to the threat is the winner. And I'm like, okay, that's a way to play Magic, I guess. But overall, the set was fun.
This early access event was very challenging for us because the Twitch blackout was happening the same day as this, and we had to decide what we were going to do, and we didn't. I think we had less than 24 hours to figure it out. Like that event was put together very quickly, and so we were like, okay, if we're not going to be on Twitch, what are we going to do? Are we going to? And I do want to give credit to Wizards. They did give the creators a lot of freedom in terms of how they wanted to participate. They knew that a lot of people wanted to take the day off or stay away from Twitch in solidarity, and so they said that if you just want to do pre-recorded content and put it to YouTube, you can. If you want to stream to your Discords, you can. If you want to stream to Twitch and then do a charity event on top of it, you can. And so we had a lot of freedom in terms of how we wanted to show our support. We decided to stream through our Discord, and I really enjoyed it. I'd never streamed through Discord before. I liked that our fans and our listeners and our friends were able to jump in the chat vocally, and so I was never alone for the entire thing. They got to help me with my plays. We got to talk about the games. I look forward to streaming more on our Discord. There were two cards in particular that I really wanted to play with. The Silver Smoke Ghoul and then the Archfiend's Vessel. And both of my decks I really enjoyed. I kind of had the same problem as you, Evan, where there were a lot of Uro decks floating around, and so anytime I didn't face Uro, I had a really good time, and I pretty much just snap conceded against every Uro deck because I was like, I just don't want to do this.
I have begun playing Brawl a little bit, which is like, which is fun. So it's the only real commander you're going to get in Arena. But if you have Niv Mizzet Reborn, you get insta conceded. I just don't.
Oh, I've heard.
Why are we doing this? Just whatever. You know.
Or Teferi Time Raveler.
But the set looks sweet. The set looks sweet. We're also seeing the impact on multiple formats. Goblins won the Modern Challenge.
Yay!
Followed by Dredge with Silver Smoke Ghoul. The Peer into the Depths, the black card, is seen play in Legacy. It's the new Yawgmoth's Bargain, and so you can tell how powerful cards are when they start to bust out in not only multiple formats but older formats as well.
Yeah, the set itself has a bunch of really, really sweet cards. It's actually selling better than M20, which I did not expect to see, quite frankly, because I thought M20 was a really terrific set. But M21 is sweet and dope, and the cards are crazy exciting right now, so let's enjoy it. That seems fun.
I'll be pre-releasing this weekend. My boyfriend bought us a couple pre-release packs from our local game store. Be sure to support your local game stores while we're here. I just found out this week that one of my local game stores is closing down, or did close down at the end of June. They said that about 38% of their sales could be attributed to in-store events, and that was just eliminated with the pandemic. So if you can support your store, please do so, because it's crushing to lose our places.
It is so difficult to keep these places afloat to start with. And, you know, and there was always that weird sort of dichotomy of, you know, when From the Vault came out, it's just like, I can't believe you're overcharging me. It's like, you know, some stores needed that to keep the lights on. Like,
yeah. And the initiatives that are out right now are sadly just a drop in the bucket, where Wizards has a thing where it's like, you know, take a selfie with your store when you buy an arena pass and we'll give them like 0.5%. It's not making a difference. Like, they need more than just that pittance that they're getting.
Right. So... it's crazy, but either way, any further thoughts on M21 before we move forward?
So between M21 and Jumpstart, 900 cards came out since our last show.
We made it.
That is too many cards.
That's insane. That's insane.
We didn't even have an episode. Sometimes when there's a preview season, we'll be like, we'll pick 3 cards from this set, and then Aaron will pick 3 cards from this set, and we'll talk about the set for a little while. We didn't even do that with Jumpstart. We didn't have time.
We don't have time, and even this week, we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but like, holy cow, it's just one thing after another, and... kind of, sort of, we're keeping up with the Joneses a little bit in terms of sales, and it just rolls us into gather the townsfolk into Jumpstart. I will, look, how do I put this? Jumpstart is the best idea I heard from Wizards in like a long time. Like, it is brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
You give the limited, and then you give the fact that you get around the deck building. You put so many sweet cards in this freaking thing. The mythics are blowing up. That mill guy's like $40. Absolutely ridiculous.
Awesome.
The fact that even during a pandemic, a product like this is flying off the shelves, cannot keep it in stock. Wizards aren't even going to be able to get us everything all at once anyway. So, like, there are shortages. If you need that Jumpstart, you can get it, but you want to pay for it. If you give it another month or two, I promise they won't be $140 a box anymore.
Sure.
But you're going to have to wait for that experience if that's what you want.
You're telling me I got to wait a month for Tiny Bones because they're $47 right now?
I was skeptical when I first heard about Jumpstart because I didn't get it. I couldn't really visualize what they were trying to do. But once the cards came out, I started to get a better feel for it. And like you said, it's like, you know, I like the idea of sealed, but I don't like that magic eye game of like trying to find a deck in your pool. This is limited without having to worry about the deck building. You can just sort of jam the two halves together, whether it be the Tiny Bones and the Devil, or whether it be the Angels and the Mill. Like, I really like that. And so I really grew to like this set. I grew to be very eager to see the spoilers when they come out in the previews. You know, but a lot of great commander cards here, like Tiny Bones, like the Sphinx. I'm trying to build around the Devil myself, so if you have any ideas for the Devil, hit me up. And it's a shame that, you know, something that's, you know, so huge, people aren't going to be able to get their hands on. I wonder if they thought it was going to be that big of a hit. Like, do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, man, trying to read the tea leaves on Wizards' decisions. Who knows? We'll get to those in a little bit. But here, like, it even gets more brilliant than that. Because you can break them down into their original counterpart and stick them and have all these different ones, and then you can make your own Jumpstart cards. You can make your own Jumpstart packs around whatever you want them to make them about, and mix them in with their Jumpstart, and it totally works. Holy crap, this idea is amazing. I want Jumpstarts every freaking year. Let's do this forever. This was awesome. I know it's a lot of cards, but it's super duper cool. I cannot tell you how much I love this product. I've been raving about it for months, and here we are, and it's flying off the shelves, so that makes me feel good, because
could not agree more. It is the coolest, most interesting set of expansion of any kind at the absolute weirdest possible time.
It's a weird time, but that to me is the power of this product, right?
Sure.
It should not be
come out
the same
at the same time as M21 during the middle of a pandemic. It's like, how is this possibly popular, and it is.
Yeah, and it's following some of that Keyforge, sort of timeline.
Sure.
Keyforge was huge. I mean, we're talking they sold over 1 million decks in
was
like 3 months.
Was that the one where all the card names were random?
All the deck
like
names,
okay.
yeah. And so it came out really weird and some were really ridiculous. But, again, that game blew up because it was a very unique experience. This is a unique experience that you can both recreate and have for yourself over and over. And the cards are worth a lot of money, so there's some value in that too. Like, it's just so good. I can't stand it.
Magic falls into a trap a lot where it tries to reinvent the wheel with literally everything it does, and it doesn't have to. And when it just straight up copies other games' good ideas, that's when it crushes it the most.
Yeah, everything's a remix, guys. It's okay. Take a good idea, run with it. Like,
oh, by the way, the Phyrexian Basic Swamp, $18.
Can we talk about those basic lands? I was not expecting the basics to be as awesome as they are. Like the Swamp Cauldron, you have the island made out of books. I mean, like this set, set made me want to play
goblins.
Basics again. Yeah, like
there's a Puppy Plains.
Look,
I mean the lands in this set are ridiculous.
Absolutely. Oh, they're amazing. And I think that's something that Shivam had said that he had done, which is he makes 50 card stack over here, 50 card stack over here with a partner, and you can shuffle them together and have a 100 card deck, 100 card commander deck. Well, Wizards Commander Jumpstart would be freaking insane.
Oh,
everybody's got a partner commander. Everybody's got 49 cards beyond that. You shuffle those together, and there's your commander deck. And that would get me playing commander. I don't play commander because I don't want to deck build. I don't want to fiddle around and find all these weird cards and put all this stuff together. Just let me have that experience. Just like Aaron doesn't like regular drafting. Just let me shuffle together and play.
Right.
That's amazing. Yeah. I can't.
Let us play.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so look,
checks in the mail for Commander Jumpstart.
Right. I mean, Lord knows we drop kick Wizards when they do something dumb. So I'm going to rave when they got it right. It was great.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
For Commander Jumpstart, maybe a preview card.
Absolutely, maybe. All right. But that said, good problems. Moving on here. There is a Magic Art Challenge happening where, as I understand it, the artists of Magic are coming together to auction some artwork away for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah, so this was an initiative that was launched by Mike Linneman, who has, hosted art shows and done things of that nature, along with Tatiana Dykes, who's a collector and one of the moderators of the MTG Art Market Facebook group. Paul Baronet, level 3 judge, was involved as well. Just a number of people who saw everything that was going on and wanted to help. Mike lives in Minneapolis, so he, got a front row seat to where the, protests first started recently and got to see the protesting and the destruction and things like that, and wanted to do something. And this is what Mike does very well. Mike knows art. Mike knows art shows. And so he organized this auction, and he got several people to contribute pieces that they either owned or that they had made. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen any final numbers yet, but it did seem to be doing well. I did see a lot of signal boosting about it. So I hope that it is able to make a difference and that they are able to donate some money to some of these organizations that could really use it.
Goodness gracious. If you look on the page now, this was happening on June 20th, I guess, to the 27th. Lots and lots of original paintings and sketches have been sold for many, many thousands of dollars, including the original Grenzo Dungeon Warden, which was really cool from Conspiracy. So a lot of really sweet things there. And Mike Linneman has been involved in sort of the business side of Magic art. We're selling and getting art pieces to people who want them and auctioning them off and stuff like that. So it all kind of came together in a really nice way.
Yeah, and this is a great example. We've said it before. If you want to help, you do what you do best. We've seen a lot of Jim Davis has raised a lot of money lately. Caleb Durward. If you're fortunate enough to have a platform, you can turn that into money, into charity. And Mike and these guys are great examples of that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, did you know that there was a players tour? Did you know there were two? Did you know there were two?
Really? When were they?
Like last week, I think. There was some coverage, which was
I saw some tweets about the coverage because they had some fresh faces. They had Daquan Watson, who by all accounts killed it. Like I saw rave reviews about his commentary. Also, people were really excited to see Manny Devuti do coverage as well.
Who appeared on the very first episode of Magic Mike's. just making barbecue in the background.
So I saw a lot of feedback regarding the coverage lineup, but I didn't exactly know what they were covering.
Yeah.
And so I guess it was a pro tour.
It was a players tour.
It was a players tour.
I could not name anything that happened during it.
I can just tell you that Fabled Passage is certainly the coolest Magic card from those tournaments because there were 1,337 copies played amongst it, which spells out lead and geek.
Evan.
Lead speed. Okay. All right. I thought that was cool. Y'all leave me alone. Jeez. Y'all were the worst.
Lead speed. What's next? Turning the calculator upside down so it reads
That's
leads?
right. 80085. This was my humor as a child. Let me have things. All right.
Evan just wants to play Icon has cheeseburgers.
I mean, that joke must have been so hard to pull off because when you turn the calculator around, the paper receipt roll just
yeah.
You're the man now, dog. Got it. All right. Look.
That reference is so old it could vote.
Oh, it certainly could. Goodness gracious. Like, there was a part of this was, Wizards, they're posting social media, high five and stuff, and they talk about Akira Asahara, and this is like one of the greatest Magic players who's ever lived. 2 Worlds top 8, 2 GP wins, one of the OG Moto grinders, and one of the most renowned deck builders in Japan, and they were just like, making his second PT top 8 in a row, and it's just like... Really?
We saw that with some of our guys as well when they were like up and comer Noah Walker, and it was just like, no. And this account has had a couple instances where they did not appear to know who they were talking about or to know the history of the people involved, and it always just leads to some chuckles where it's like
look, I understand like how they could put it in the way. I understand they don't necessarily have to talk about his history, but again, you're in this weird period of like crazy change and transition, and we want to make the past mean stuff. All those old events don't just get wiped away. They just don't go away.
It's that, and you're also seeing this disconnect, and you're also seeing these instances where Wizards clearly doesn't know who they're dealing with, where, you're seeing them, tweet about players that they've obviously never encountered or that they don't know the history of, or you're seeing them let content creators go, which we'll certainly talk about, or not accept them into the creator program like Brandon Burton. It's like, here's some new guy with a bad layout. That's Brandon Burton. Like, do you understand like who that is? And so, or you see people getting preview cards or people not getting preview cards that are known for playing certain archetypes or having certain, preferences. And so you are seeing this just lack of community engagement there that's just becoming harder and harder to ignore. Of, do you know who we are? I don't mean like we, the 3 of us, but I mean like the people, like...
the larger sort of community. Again, it just feels like that the person who's running this account doesn't have that much, sort of institutional knowledge or history of the competitive Magic scene.
And it could be argued that they don't need it, which is fair.
I can see that too. I totally get. I get it. I understand, but I also want to note that I feel like this is something you can fix and make better.
I agree. And if you think you don't need it, cool. You're still going to get made fun of for not knowing who Asahara and Wyatt Darby are.
Yeah.
Like...
It's a little silly.
Don't forget up-and-comer Noah Walker.
Up-and-comer Noah Walker.
That guy. I hope he gets there one day.
Brand new to the scene. Bright future, that kid.
So there's updates.
Can I tell my favorite Noah Walker story? I'm sorry, I have to. We don't have much to talk about tonight.
All right.
So when I was working with Noah on Team Card Hoarder, I couldn't help but notice that he had a crochet dice bag, which is a little unusual because it's unusual to see a dice bag, number one.
Right.
It's even more unusual to have it be homemade. And so I asked him at the end of one of his games one time, I was like, I gotta ask, what's the story with the dice bag? And he goes, my girlfriend made it for me. And I was like, oh, like it was just playing with this girl. I love it.
That's right.
That is
I roll my girlfriend dice that she bought me for D&D. So
from the chat, playing Magic for what we think is his first time ever. Noah Walker.
Did your girlfriend make your dice bag?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. All right. So Magic Arena is coming, or came to macOS. You can download it right now on your Macintosh.
It looked like a bumpy transition.
Pretty bumpy. It seems like there's some bugs going on there. A lot of black screens was a problem at one point.
Okay.
Disconnect.
I haven't played on a Mac since I lived with my parents. So do any of you have any experience with Macs in the chat? Or
I mean, I got a Mac right here on my left, so we're cool.
Do you play Magic on it?
No, because you play games on Windows. You don't play games on Mac. That's a bad idea. So maybe it runs fantastically. From all reports, it seems to work.
Okay.
It does what it's supposed to do for the client that it has.
It is a way to play Magic the Gathering on a Macintosh system.
It's true. And again, as far as I know, it does work, and it is happening. It even might be a little system intensive. It's something I've read, but whatever. Do note that Brawl is now free on Arena. There's no more Brawlers Guildhall stuff. There's no more 10,000 gold to play what should just be your default casual format. You can now play Brawl.
You were big on this one. This was a big. It was
a line in the sand. They never got my money. They never got my gems. They never got my gold. Absolutely not. Like Wizards. I get, you want to kind of overreach until you're at a point that everyone's, mad and then you kind of pull back or whatever. But no, this was not cool. And I'm very glad that it changed. So good for them. All right, let's move on to Desperate Ravings. What people have been waiting all night for us to get to. Goodness gracious. I don't know where to start sometimes. First of all, we're going to start with Noah Bradley. Google it.
So the Noah Bradley thing came out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
Really?
I remember it happened on a Sunday morning. My boyfriend and I got up, we were having breakfast, and I saw the apology before I saw anything else. Somebody posted the apology to our Discord, and it wasn't a very good apology. And I was just like, what's going on? Like, what brought this on? And when I went to Twitter to search, before I'd even finished typing Noah, it auto-completed, which is never a good sign. And so from then, I started seeing these stories from people, and I saw what prompted the apology, and it was like, oh no. And then it just came out like a tidal wave. And the thing that was so interesting about this, like we've seen with a lot of these instances, was that nobody was really surprised. These things don't happen in a vacuum. These are patterns these people have developed over time. And so, before we knew it, there was, the backlash, and, he all but disappeared from Twitter, and he, went on to a different website, and Wizards disavowed him a couple days later, and it was very, very swift.
The hammer came down quite quickly. The pieces were put together over time. There were multiple people who noticed, hey, this is awkward now. A bunch of BS about 48 laws of power I'm not even getting into.
Right.
It's just a lot of weird stuff that kind of got uncomfortable, gross. And look, from someone who has recently stepped in it, there was somebody, thankfully, and people who know and or care about me, that when I came out with the first trying to explain myself in an apologetic way, they were like, that was terrible. And I'm just like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And I went and got professional,
literal professional help.
I need it. It's just my life. This is my job. I love you guys. I don't want to screw this up. So let's not screw this up. No one needed that person. No one came to Noah and was like, dude, you don't know how this comes off, do you? And like
his wife's apology, not that she owed anybody one, mind you, but her apology was fantastic. Like, she did everything you were supposed to do. It was eloquent. It was beautiful. It was heartfelt. I mean, that was a masterclass right there. But this is huge. This is huge, devastating. Obviously people were fans of his work, right. It's been a rough couple of months for Wizards, and particularly when it comes to artists. Yeah. People brought Therese back up with Jumpstart because they saw that she had reprints in that set, and so and especially given the conversation around Black folks and minorities and things like that, people are going, okay, well, let's now that Noah's sort of persona non grata, let's get a Black artist to commission these pieces. And so, if these people are as problematic as we say, let's get some new. Now is the opportunity to get some new blood in there.
It's hard to explain. Sort of like Noah Bradley was the rock star of the Magic artists at right before this happened, essentially. Like, he was tier 1. They would give him super huge, really important pieces, the extended art lands or whatever, whole cycles of stuff.
He also fought for artists at a time where, they were not getting the best treatment. He was one of the first artists to say, like, I am worth this much per signature.
Right.
I deserve this. And he made artists, he got artists to stand up for themselves, and not just artists, but just everybody. He got content creators to realize that you are worth being paid. You are worth a signature, you are worth an autograph, you are worth a print, and get that bag.
Right. And and the idea that he was able to network and market himself on Reddit and whatnot, like, all those things were in his favor. All that stuff was going his way, and then he acted the way he acted, and here we are. So, Wizards, again, like, God, I can only imagine what he's got coming in Zendikar Rising. They probably put him front and center, quite frankly, because he makes some pretty cool lands.
Well, he also got lucky enough, we've said it before, that part of being a successful artist is also getting lucky enough to have your cards see play. Because there are many talented artists that get stuck with, like, a bum uncommon that nobody ever uses. They gave him ley lines, like these iconic enchantments that are absolutely going to see play in multiple formats. And so not only is he a talented artist, but he was also given a lot of pieces that helped catapult him to the top of Magic.
Right. So it's hard to describe sort of what a fall from grace essentially this one is, which is super crazy and awkward. And Final Fantasy games came right behind Wizards. I swear to God, they copied their homework. I think they just copied and pasted the statement that they gave. Let's go on to more garbage fires. What is happening with the MTG Creator Program?
You mean the streamer program?
With this streamer crap, like, you try to disguise it as not streamers, but it is for streamers. If you're not streaming, you're not going to get any benefits out of it.
I don't know why it's so taboo for them to say that. Like, just say it. Like,
we've been here before.
I think they'd get rid of a lot of the backlash if people just knew where they stood. Like, if Wizards just came out and said, it's a streamer program, and what? Like, people would go, like, okay, we finally have that closure, and we can kind of move on. But when you're doing this weird dance, it does lead to people asking questions and saying, hey, why are we not being included in this?
If they called it a streamer program, then people would say, cool, it's now named correctly. Where's the creator program?
Right.
So instead of dealing with that, they're just pretending, no, this is a creator program. And by the way, what's up, Wizards? Hey, I know you watch this show. So here's the deal. We have talked about this dozens of times.
A lot of times.
Like, what needs to happen? Like, I understand that us harping on it and complaining about it isn't going to help, but we're delivering the news because it's news again.
It is.
We're here because we want Magic to succeed. Help us help you.
Yeah.
What can we do to make this work?
Yeah, so this all came to a head right before the latest early access event because there were several major Magic personalities that had noted that they'd been dropped from the program, like Bengineering and Loading Ready Run, and other people that were just like, yeah, we haven't, we either didn't get approved the first time or we've been subsequently dropped, and also just kind of comparing their track records, where you had some people that were like, I haven't streamed in so long, I'm still a creator, and you have somebody that was like, I missed a much shorter amount of time than you, and now I'm gone. So, people are realizing that there doesn't seem to be a set standard, that, again, people who you would think would be in the program that could give you a lot of visibility are not getting in. People who likewise don't stream very much or sort of auto-includes. It's just really baffling, and it was just, it came back up again right before the early access event.
It's
dropping Loading Ready Run is inexcusable.
I mean, that's just embarrassing. It's just, to me, it's just a question of priorities, quite frankly. That Wizards has decided that the priority is streaming, and that streaming is where all of their marketing should go. And again, that's one of those things, like, if that's where you're at, don't talk to the podcasters and don't talk to the cosplayers.
To me, it's essentially leading on. Like, it's kind of like when you're in a relationship and you'd rather know where you stand. You'd rather know that somebody doesn't want to be with you than being led on like this. And I think to some degree it is like being led on.
Yeah. So and Christine Sprankle in the chat, how you doing? Good to see you.
Oh my God,
just be straight with. That's all we want, man. You don't convolute it with this crap and then say something out of one side and then somebody else says something else.
Well, then they made their biggest mistake today.
Oh my Lord, Wizards. These are unforced errors. You do it to yourself. It freaks me out.
So a huge bomb was dropped a couple hours. We like to joke about how Wizards leaves us presents the day we record, where it's like, here you go, here's something to talk about. Popular streamer Elizabeth Eden, with 135,000 Twitter followers, tweeted that she had been dropped from the creator program because she has an OnlyFans. She is a sex worker on the side. She makes a diligent effort to not combine the two. Like, she does keep her Magic content separate from that. Right. And she apparently had done like a parody card or like an altar of like a gamer woman or something. And they felt like it violated some guideline and she had been dropped from the program. And social media really rallied around her. And if people didn't already have issues with this program, you know, this only exacerbated it, where it's like, okay, well, you know, you can have Fire Elemental, Earthbind, and Liliana, you know, with cleavage, but yet, you know, if somebody decides to exercise their own agency, suddenly that's a problem. And also, just, you got rid of somebody with that big of a what?
You're hurting yourself in many weird different ways.
Yeah, from a purely numbers
and even
perspective.
If she didn't have the following, like, let's be clear, she didn't. If she had 50 followers, I think people would still be feeling the way they do. But.
No, yeah.
I agree with you. The fact that she has an OnlyFans, and that's kind of what she does. I'm guessing is most of her living.
Sure.
So what?
It's okay for pretty girls to do things.
To play Magic, exactly.
They can play Magic and have OnlyFans. It's
let's
okay.
be honest. It's okay for not pretty girls. Like, you know,
it's also okay.
It's okay for
everybody has the right
beasts
to do
like
that.
myself to also have OnlyFans.
Yeah, I promise you, Evan, somebody would subscribe to your OnlyFans. I'm telling you. But yeah, I mean, it's just the idea that, you know, they're fine with sexuality when it's something that they can market and they can exploit. But, you know, the minute a woman uses her body for herself and decides what she wants to do with it, well, suddenly people don't really like that. And I think it's a shame. And it has the potential to be another nail in this really ugly coffin.
I'm okay with, you know, like, sort of whatever. I can't explain it the way the song will come out weird. All I'm saying is it's okay for pretty girls to do things and have things in artwork.
Human
and
beings
all this
are
stuff.
allowed to do what they want. These
It's
weird
fine.
lines in the sand that are like, oh, because of the way that you make money through the sex industry,
Right,
we
okay
can't
with that.
have you in our card game.
Well, Ruben, you also mentioned the D&D factor.
Yeah, so Wizards of the Coast, in general, has a pretty good relationship with people who have had sex work or, you know, nude modeling in their pasts. The former community manager for Dungeons & Dragons, Satine Phoenix, has been a professional model for a lot of her adult life. Several people, Vivid Vivka, is someone who's been featured on several Dungeons & Dragons streams and is, you know, a co-star on Sirens of the Realms, among other shows. A lot of these folks, gaming in general takes all kinds. A lot of people come to Magic, come to D&D, come to tabletop, come to card games because they are in some way not the norm. Right? And the crossover between the two is much larger in between things like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and sex work. So the normalization of sex work shouldn't be a huge issue with Magic the Gathering players and Dungeons and Dragons players, especially considering the fact that D&D forces you to experience empathy. It's a machine for living in another person's shoes. And Magic experiences you to just make cost-benefit analyses at all times and like try to make the correct decision. Like, I don't see how any of that is applied here. And so it's just a sad thing to see. Now, we don't have the full picture. Maybe there was some other, you know,
maybe there's some evidence we ain't seen, but
right,
like,
or there was some contract that was signed or some agreement that wasn't
Do you think
wasn't
the
followed through
content
on.
creator program has contracts?
I mean,
like,
you have
come on.
an agreement of like conduct and stuff. I get it, but again, the point was this was just totally unforced. I guarantee Wizards did not see this one coming. They were like, this person's just going to go away like a fart in the wind, and we're never going to have this problem ever again. And blah blah blah.
135,000 Twitter followers.
Dude, you lose
like,
the game. Whoever at Wizards made this thing, you lost the game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
there is one ray of light, you know, in all of this darkness. Rebecca Gay, #GayPride, announced that she might be working on something.
Yep.
So somebody had made a post on Facebook that simply said, "Bring back Rebecca Gay.
Yep.
She never hurt no one." And Rebecca Gay came out with guns blazing. She was like, "My kid's queer. I'm pro-earth. I'm anti-racism.
Yep.
I am an environmentalist.
Trans
She was
women are
like,
women.
I am
It was
the
like,
one you want."
Yep. It was like
then she
it was like
said
Ben and
something like,
Jerry's releasing a statement, just like off the top rope.
So
awesome.
she's all about trans rights, and then she says something like, I might be something that might be coming down the pike, and people lost it. They love their Rebecca Gay, and they were like, oh my goodness.
And for what it's worth, Wizards knows this, and I'm sure
Yes,
it's going to
bring her back.
And please don't get Rebecca in trouble for this. Like, she's clearly just dropping the heinous of
Right,
hints
but
here.
just, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
she's
gonna be
exactly
insane.
what we need right now.
Yes, Rebecca Gay is what we need in our lives. Please.
Yeah.
Can we have
And-
some wholesome? Can we have some just
Yes,
good
we
things,
We
please?
did just end Gay Pride Month.
Heyo.
And so now we can have Gay Wrath.
Do you remember
Month.
how mad they were in the YouTube, like when we didn't pick her?
Oh my God.
No honorable mention was
They
so
love
easy
her.
a pick. No honorable mention was so easy a pick as
Oh,
the
man.
honorable mention for what artist we missed in our top tens.
Oh my God.
I was.
The Gay Mafia came. They were like,
I felt very embarrassed for myself.
So you take
that
one gay step forward and two Bradley and Nielsen steps back is what you have.
Wow. All right. Let's move on here to some splash damage. Note the raffle does end at 45 minutes out, so get your entries in before then. We are going to get Planeswalker plushies. From
Okay.
WizKids.
Sure.
See?
I'm going to drop that
Super
link
huggable.
here in the chat. It'll be in the notes.
a Johnny, Nicol,
cuddliest Garrick.
Chandra, and Garrick. Okay.
They're in super soft, huggable form. Magic the Gathering, funny, PHUNNY.
What is that about?
What is that
Sure.
about?
Funny.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So first of all, this Nicol Bolas is amazing. I'm in love with that. I like the planeswalkers they've chosen. There are two animals, which you want stuffed animals.
Oh, Bolas
then
is
there's
cute.
Chandra. Chandra's fine, got the goggles, got the plush goggles, and then you've got Garrick, who's essentially a teddy bear. And so I'm
Johnny's
a
little
big
eye.
fan of all of these.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I'm going to use our new super cool feature because we can to take a look at this stuff.
Oh,
this
hey.
Johnny is just adorkable. And this
very
freaking Nicol Bolas, man.
The Nicol Bolas with the plush gem in the forehead.
Oh, my God.
Why
so good.
are you doing this plugin? I hate you so much. It doesn't work. It works, then it doesn't work. I'm sorry. All right. Okay.
Nobody has pupils, though.
No one has pupils.
I'm a little creeped out by that.
So in splash damage, Mixer.com
Hey.
ripped the rug out. Didn't even mention it. Didn't say this was happening. Went from 0 to the whole service is shutting down. Go to Facebook Gaming, whatever that is. See you later.
The streamers didn't know about it either. There were so many
Yeah.
clips of people
Oh
that,
my
like,
God.
because it really was, an all eggs in one basket kind of situation. You had people that left everything they had built, to join Mixer, and it ended up not working out. And now they're just kind of not sure where to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's streaming platforms such as this one, but just because you have a streaming platform don't mean there's all the people there watching it, and doesn't
I
mean
do
it's
want to
worth
bring up
your
a
time.
really good comment by the Amazonian, who's a beloved member of our community. Somebody had commented on what was going to happen to some of the big name streamers that Mixer had bought out, like Ninja and Shroud and Loaded and things like that. And somebody had made a comment about, Mixer's strategy being flawed in that, they thought if they just paid 3 people a bunch of money that everybody was going to come follow them. And Amazonian brought up a fantastic point. She said, I think they would have had more success buying out hundreds of medium streamers for the same price as a few major names. And then somebody above them said, small streamers also matter and make up a lot of Twitch's audience. The 1% is not the only truth.
Correct.
And that is so true. Like, we've seen reports like that before of like what the average stream is, and it's quite depressing.
I
like,
think what you're trying to say is Facebook Gaming. Call me. It's fine.
We'll see.
We're
We'll see how
happy to
Facebook
have
Gaming
conversations,
does.
but I really like that somebody brought that up because it does feel like that was one of the issues here is that, you didn't know your audience, you were banking on this, when in reality it is the smaller streamers or the
Correct.
mid-level streamers that make the whole thing go round.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that this is you can very easily see that this is just some tech guy's idea of, oh, I can repeat that. We'll just take the top 5 and just make it over here, because we're Microsoft and FU, that's why. And it very spectacularly didn't work. I mean, Ninja has only been off of... When Ninja left Twitch, he was the most followed active Twitch channel. He had 14 million followers. That was in August of 2019.
Jeez.
It is not a year later, and the platform is dead. So, this is a spectacular failure that is, I mean, I hesitate to say that anyone could have seen it coming, but I mean, you look back on it. And
like, hindsight, you're like, but hindsight in this year,
Yeah.
But, ultimately, I can also see them saying, well, what if we just go target all the mid-level streamers or whatever through certain thresholds, and them going like, man, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Can I just pay Ninja like $9 million and we just go for lunch or something? Like, I got to contact 100, 200, 300 people. That's a lot of work.
You get your sports agent to sign 3 contracts, and we did it.
I think this is also a case of, and we've had this discussion before when it comes to Magic, sort of the lie of esports, where there's this idea that there's millions of people out there and all of this money going around, and there've been a lot of articles where people are going, where, and that these numbers have been inflated, and that the esports industry is not nearly as successful as people have made it out to be, and so I think that's a factor here too, is that Mixer was like, oh man, there's so much out there, when I think esports is successful, but do I think it's this phenomenon that people think it is? I don't think so, and I'm not surprised to see examples like this.
Online marketing in particular, whether it's esports or whatever, is super obfuscated. They will not tell you exactly how the numbers are crunched. They'll do things like, well, if you saw this ad and later you bought literally anything from that store, that ad brought that money to that store, and they will continue to do that in a certain window for a certain range for a long time. So you can buy a couple $100s worth of Facebook ads. They say you made like 30 grand. You did not make 30 grand from your Facebook ads. They took everything that you had in it and they lumped it all together, yada, yada, yada. It's just all
I will
that
say,
there is some amount of black magic going on in there.
One time I had $1 somehow in my Facebook ad credit, and I was like, I don't know why I have this $1. I got it from some promo
they got probably giving it
thing,
away, sure.
And I'm like, I have this $1. So then I was doing a Facebook update for Magic Mike's. It was like, hey, watch the top 10s, and it's like, would you like to spend the $1? And I was like, yeah. Let's try that, I guess. What happens? And that ad got more clicks. I don't know where they came from. But it got more clicks, right? Like maybe there's a click farm in Azerbaijan where they're just like, haha, we're going to get them for their $1 and clicking the mouse.
Got you.
But, it's from what I understand, advertising on Facebook does work for those companies that do it regularly.
Right. For some amount of it, with the right sort of targeting. Again, it's one of those things that it's so easy to just let them attribute all of the sales that you get from whatever channel you're trying to sell through, that it came from them. And so if you give them more money, then they'll send you more business, and so on and so forth.
The other thing that Mixer reminds me of is, and you're going to have to bear with me for a second because I'm a soccer guy, is the North American Soccer League back in the 70s tried to catapult itself immediately into the category of the English Premier League and Serie A by snapping up these huge contracts with Pele. You remember this? Pele played for the New York Cosmos, and they brought in all these huge stars, and then 6 years later the league was dead. The Major League Soccer happened in the 90s. And they didn't try to do that. They tried to build home talent. They went small. And now they're finally getting to where they're like a reasonably respected mid-tier league, right? Yeah. That's what Mixer tried to do. Mixer tried to catapult. And they didn't take the years that Twitch took. They didn't take the years that even Facebook Gaming or YouTube took. Yeah. And they haven't been in the game nearly as long as Twitch,
right?
And just tried to, immediately get to the finish line without tripping over themselves. And it's not a strategy that you can do. You have to put in some amount. You can't build a second story on a house with a shaky foundation.
Well, it turns out Ninja and those other guys aren't your foundation. You think it is, but it's not. It's the roof. It's not the foundation. But yeah, that's, dude bro, tech bro aside, I can see where all those ideas, went crashing down.
I mean, if I want to build a new basketball league, I would try to sign LeBron James. If I'm trying to build a new football league, I'm going to try to sign, Drew Brees and Tom Brady. If I'm going to try to build a new Twitch, I'm going to try to sign Ninja and Shroud. The problem is, it's not that, right? And it's not an apples to apples situation, and they got burned.
Yeah, I mean, I went to Mixer And I think I gave a free sub at some point to a streamer there, and that was the last time I ever went. So
I never went to Mixer.
yeah, GG. All right. So as we mentioned, not a ton. Even if we kind of had a week off, not a ton to talk about. A lot of stuff happened, but in terms of like beyond what had happened.
As we mentioned during the pre-show, there were many topics. Not a lot of meat on the bone for those topics for us to talk about further.
Like, you don't want me to stumble through, like, you know, the 2020 changes to the competitive play structure of whatever and mythic points that go to so-and-so. Like,
we don't need 10 minutes on Therese Nielsen.
Right. It's not going to help us move forward. So that said, let's go ahead and turn the corner to the finisher. Congratulations. You've made it. You made it halfway through this year. It is July 1st, 2020, meaning you've arrived at the midway point of the decades-long eon that is the last 6 months. You've survived wildfires, earthquakes, a once-in-a-century pandemic, a generational cultural upheaval event, murder hornets, and worst of all, Lurrus of the Dream Den. Seriously. Wizards. But the worst is yet to come. So tell me, if hindsight is 2020, what are you expecting going forward into the back half of this year, Ruben?
With so many MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL, PGA, and of course, TCG events canceled, we're all currently in the midst of a lost summer and looking at a conless, concertless, eventless rest of the year. But something that is staying strong is combat sports, specifically WWE and the UFC. So I'm excited for a return to form and the heyday of the bad boy of Magic. The PT era may be gone, but the PTR era is ripe for a comeback.
Man, we're starting to get super inside baseball with PTR at this point, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's
Aaron, what you got?
Well, the United States presidential election is just a mere 124 days away. Don't forget to vote. Register to vote.
God.
And we're due for at least 3 more natural disasters and about 4 more human-made ones before then. And with Zendikar Rising on the docket, I'm excited for the big hit of the summer, landfall slides.
Oh my goodness.
Bloodcast.
All right, so with Mixer now dead, long live Mixer, all of the talented folks from the Microsoft streaming program are free agents. The rumor mill had a conspiracy theory that it was all a result of Ninja and the gang trying to start their own new platform. That hasn't yet come to fruition in any case, but regardless, Mixer is gone, and those people need a new home. So I'm excited for 2020 to end with the biggest shock of them all, the introduction of Cool Stuff Gaming. Yeah, stream your games now, right now, coolstuffgaming.com. Cool games on live now. Yeah.
You do love a nice poach.
Wow.
Poach them eggs.
That's right. You got to do what you got to do. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to our listeners. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
And we're going to move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-host, Aaron Camel and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMikesPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMikesPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.